Come on, Jim. Come on.
Today we're playing vintage baseball at the Hayes Presidential Center, the Spiegel Grove Squires against the Alliance Crossing Rails. And we just took a whipping here. We lost by about 10 or 12, but it was a fun game. It's a hot day to play, but it's a fun game. Vintage baseball is dated in 1867 to 1870, somewhere in there.
Well, the thing is, in the 1860s, it was a game that was developed out of the city of New York during the Civil War. The thing is, New York people were actually drafted and actually went into the ranks for the Northern soldiers. And the thing is, when they had a lot of downtime because they had basically scheduled battles, so they actually had their bat and ball and they played the game of baseball. The Civil War had a lot to do with the baseball spreading across the nation. So when the Civil War was over, they actually took the game back to their own communities, and baseball basically took off after 1865.
It's played without gloves. The main rules are different. You catch it on one bounce and they're out, and the ball, wherever it's hit first, whether it's fair or foul. If it hits fair, it's fair. If it hits foul, it's foul. And we use wooden bats. There's no aluminum bats, so it's all wooden bats. The balls are about the size of a baseball, not quite as hard, but they are hard. They hit easily. They hit, if you're a good hitter, they'll go a long ways. And other than that, as I said before, there's no gloves, so it's all catch with your hands.
I think we got to talk a little bit about the vintage baseball in general, because it's pretty much all started from the Ohio Village Muffins. They're pretty much the first vintage baseball team that started this idea, and they reached out to different communities, and the thing is, and said, basically started vintage baseball.
I got invited in 2002. We were short players, and I've been playing ever since, and we've got like 17 guys on our team, but we got enough to play the game.
We actually started, I believe it was in the 90s, and so we played for 5 or 6 years, and it basically fizzled out and we stopped playing. Then they restarted again in 2003. Jerry Wings Wasserman, him and myself were the two players that started that same day. I was the hurler. That's, in modern day, that's the pitcher. The goal of the hurler is to deliver the ball where the striker, which is the batter, wants to be delivered, because it's actually a hitting game. It's always delivered underhand in 1860 to basically to put it in play, so then the game can go on, continue.
Our particular field here at Spiegel Grove has trees all over the place, and whenever these teams come here for the first time, they look and wonder where we're going to play, and then we tell them where it is, and they can't believe they're going to have to play in that. But the trees are the obstacles, part of what makes this particular field really different.
They have a shortstop back in those days, but the thing is that he was called a rover or a ranger, and the thing is, and then the outfielders, one in each field, is considered scouts. There was a left scout, center scout, and right scout. The runs were called tallies back in those days, tallies or aces. Outs were actually called handouts or hands. One hand out is basically, or one hand is an out, or two hands is two outs, and if the side out is three hands. So that basically, instead of calling it an out, they called it a hand. I think the thrill that I have is I've actually played with two sons. My son started when he was 13, and the thing is, I've played with him, and he's off to college, and then I have another son that plays on the team. And my grandson said the other day he wants to play too.
It's a gentleman's game. We have an umpire that calls, safe or out, But if he makes a wrong call, the players will usually say, you missed that, and he was out or he was safe. And a lot of times it's the guy that was called safe will call himself out. You know, we compete, but it's not win at all costs. Like, you know, it's not like we're playing the World Series. We just have a good time.